get started, if everybody rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Got your minutes in front of you from the last meeting. If you want to take a minute to look at them, and then we'll approve them. Are we all through the minutes?
I make a motion to accept the minutes from December 14th meeting.
I will second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve the meetings from the previous minute. Any questions? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Carol and Cody. All right, we'll go around the room for public comments. I'm bad with names, so if I don't know your name, I'm just going to point at you.
Maggie, she's a reporter.
She never says anything anyway.
Christy and Eric are
Yep.
they're on the agenda.
I know that one.
You know Nikki. No.
Kevin.
That's Jerry back there in the overall.
Oh yeah, Jerry.
That's Rob. He's our wastewater operator.
Oh, never met him. Nice to meet you.
That's Cliff.
The Cliff I know
I've
too.
never met
All right.
him.
Move on to old business. Salary ordinance was approved.
Yes, I need everyone to re-sign the salary ordinance.
Okay.
It was actually incorrect. The math on mine was not correct. I was just putting it in the other day, but I mean it's the right amount now. The right amount was in the 3 columns. It just wasn't right in the total.
Okay.
So I just need everyone to re-sign one. It's not changed, so
The pamphlet update.
it's all done. Yeah.
We get anything about CSX?
No, I actually tried to call Scott today. He's on vacation.
We're paying him to be on vacation.
I know. He tried to call me last week, so.
And the office relocation?
Well, I got
I
wiring.
see you got electric.
I got wiring. I got phone. I got internet. So Jace is out right now with a COVID positive in his house. So he and I were going to start moving stuff this week.
Okay.
So I'm Thursday, Cliff. We think he's going to be back.
I think that's what he told me.
yeah, so
Okay.
Cliff did some stuff yesterday since he's out, and hopefully he'll be back and he and I can start moving. So we're getting closer.
Any other old business I'm missing? All right.
No.
Water meter software.
Actually, Matt Kingery stopped by today to see where we were at on that. I was kind of wanting to talk to Scott Craig before I made a move on. I told him we were going to go ahead and do that. But he also, I need to find out a couple more costs. He said he wasn't sure if Keystone would charge me to do some re-stuff on their end to hook that to our software. So I need to call Keystone tomorrow. So just a few more pieces of that puzzle, but I told him we were on for that, and I need to get a price on a computer, and I haven't had time to do that either. So.
And did we talk to the new water contract guy or the maintenance contract guy?
I am not sure if Jason's talked to him or not.
Do you know, Cliff? Has he talked to the new guy for the contract for the generator maintenance and stuff? Have you guys had contact with him?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
not sure either. So, thank you, Eric Smith, for some good names on our generator service.
You're welcome.
I did email Williams and cancel the contract, so
Okay,
told
good.
him I was not renewing.
All right.
Did they reply?
Nope.
I bet not.
Just wondered.
Meeting dates are all set.
Hey, the meeting dates are set. I did have a typo on your list, so I gave you a new one. Thank you,
Okay.
Maggie, for finding my typo.
I was going to say, are they published?
No, she found a typo and emailed me, but I did send it to the paper, so they have it, and
Okay.
Maggie had it already. So I posted it on the town Facebook page today, just to see if anybody wanted to make sure they had it, and I'll
Alright.
post it around town like I did last year.
All right, that brings us to the big one. Stormwater project.
So, this Eric Smith with HOC, for everybody who hasn't met him. I think Eric, this John McGlynn, he's our vice president. I don't know who you've met and who you haven't.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
So,
Cody Mason, he's new. He's our newest council member. Carol and Becky on the end. I don't think they've done a project with you. Maybe, I mean, they've done community crossings, but not like they weren't here when wastewater. Were you guys here when wastewater was? Becky was here when
I was.
wastewater was. Yeah.
when it was in finishing up.
Yeah.
that's been a few years back, but that project was actually started with a study that was funded through Okra, which Christy Gerald will talk about, because that's one of the funding options for a potential stormwater project. But the study we did studied your wastewater system and your stormwater. And at the time, the decision was made based on priorities with IDEM and conditions was let's address the wastewater now and kind of hold off on the stormwater. So I talked to Natalie a few months ago about a potential project. There is funding available. And we had looked at some of the alternatives. We looked at 5 or 6 different areas throughout the town that had issues that we could resolve with stormwater improvements. It would be storm sewers, ditches, swales. And the priority area that we had come up with, and you know there are other areas, but this is what we had looked at. And here's a graphic. Natalie, have you shared?
I think everybody should have this last graphic
we-
that you brought
Okay.
me.
We've got
Yeah.
the last one.
That this is generally what we have identified as a potential project area. This would benefit a pretty good portion of the town and would allow for future extensions. Essentially, we would start with some storm sewers down here in the subdivision, and then run a larger trunk sewer in the town easement and discharge here in the north area of town into that existing drainage way. That would drain a big portion of the east side of town, and we have developed a cost estimate for that. We had to update it from what was in the the study. 'Cause I was,
Do you have an extra one of those?
Uh-huh.
I think those gentlemen back there might be interested in it.
I've got several. So
Thank you.
here's a cost estimate. But that project would essentially drain the south subdivision, bring all that runoff and drainage up to the north part, an outlet. Again, it would allow for future extensions off of it to the east and west. And we did add one section, let's see if I get the street right, right here on, is it Maple or Middle?
That's
It
middle.
was
Middle Street,
It was
yeah.
middle.
Because that was one of the streets that did have some drainage problems, so we extended a section off of it. What we were trying to do is, you've certainly got more needs than you have than what you can afford to do in one single project, and so you're trying to leverage the most funding that you can, because you're going to have to incur some debt. Because you can't get it all grant funded, because there are some matching funds. There is stormwater grants available through Okra. Again, Christy will talk more about that. That are in the amount of maximum amount of $600,000. You have to match at least 10%.
At least 10%.
There is a program through the state revolving fund, which is what you use for your wastewater project. But this is a kind of a different program through their agency that it's called their flood control program. They'll give you up to $250,000. So that's kind of why this project is tailored around an $850,000 project, because you can get a $600,000 grant and up to $250,000 through this program. Now, we may need to adjust that because ultimately there will be a user fee, because you'll have to develop the stormwater utility. That's the only way you can get the grant and establish a user fee. And depending on what that user fee is to fund the debt that you will incur to match the grant, we may need to adjust the size of the project, because you may not want to have that rate as high as it might take to do the full $850,000 project. So, but you'll have to at least match $60,000 or 10% of the grant. So your loan amount is going to be somewhere between $60,000 and $250,000, unless you want to pull in money from some other source like ARP.
Have ARP money,
Yeah, and you can put that in and take out less in the loan too. Mm-hmm. Or you can take out the full loan amount and put in some ARP and do more project. It's but ultimately that ARP could buy your rate to a lower level. And that's probably what I would suggest you look at doing with it. But so looking at the funding, and this probably dovetails into what Christy's going to talk about. As far as the project development, the next step would be, moving into design and getting ready for construction. But you have to get funding lined up before you start any of that, because there's no sense incurring any of those costs until you're going to get some funding for the project. I mean, we could get things designed, but it may take you one or two times to get the project funded. So normally we hold off, get the funding, and then move into developing the project. So with that, I think I'll turn it over to Christy, let her talk about the program. There's a lot of steps that have to happen before we even get the application submitted, but I'll let her kind of go through some of that. Before we do, is there any questions about the project? Do we want to look at other areas, or is there a consensus that this is the right area to look at?
You want
No,
to?
go ahead.
I know that when you and I and John McMullen spoke, he couldn't be here tonight. He's doing better. Things went well today for him. But I think that we felt like this was a good start for this project. Like, I know Main Street has some drainage issues. I think some of us, we can handle some of that on our own with some.
That's some culvert replacements and ditch
and
grading,
ditch digging and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So that's why I think that we shifted the focus when the three of us sat down, talked about the project, because this gets us started, and there's a lot that can come off of that.
Right. It really is kind of a backbone of something you could expand from in the future.
And the expansion will get you over to Main Street. I mean,
Yeah.
It has that capability.
Yeah, we obviously would set the grades as low as we can based on the outlet, so that you can go as far
Okay.
with gravity storm sewer as you can.
Okay.
Yeah. So, if you do want to change, we can switch out some of this with maybe another area. We'll just need to know that, because that does affect who the beneficiaries are, and that affects the income surveys that she's going to talk about. So that's the area that we're going to do the work in is something we have to really set before all of the grant application process goes into motion. So.
Thanks, Sarah. So it's so nice to be here tonight and meet all of you. My name's Christy Gerald. I've been a grant administrator since 2009. I've been working with the town of Montezuma in York County, as well as the town of Mecca. They're actually getting ready to build a new park. We're real excited about that. And Montezuma just wrapped up their wastewater project about a year ago. So really excited to be here talking with you guys. I've handed you guys a packet of my body of work, which is all the communities that I've worked with. These are all grants that I've written and administered. So just kind of wanted to give you an idea of all the projects I do. Stormwater, wastewater, water, community centers, fire stations, all kinds of grants. So feel free to call any of the communities and ask about me if you have any questions. I'm going to pass out paper here.
No, she didn't do it.
This is project specific here. So the biggest pot in the state to go after is through the Indiana Office of Community Rural Affairs. It is the same as you did your wastewater. And, sorry. This pot is actually federal grant dollars that come from Housing and Urban Development. Trickles down to the state, to the Lieutenant Governor's office. And she manages and disperses those funds and awards those funds through the Office of Community Rural Affairs. So when we say OKRA, that's what we're talking about. They do have 2 rounds a year. They have several programs. They have public facilities where you can do community centers, libraries. They have a water wastewater program where you can do water and wastewater projects. They have a specific stormwater improvements program, which I think this would be perfect for. And so there's 2 rounds a year, one in the spring, one in the late fall. And so this year, the calendar, they just released that. Round 1, if we wanted to pursue that, proposal would be due at the end of April, with a final application due at the end of July. You're required to have 2 public hearings. Those would cost about $50 in the newspaper a piece. And we would find out if we're awarded in August, and then construction could probably start, I would say, March.
Yeah, if
23.
you're awarded in August, then you'd have to go through the steps of getting it surveyed, designed, and ready to go into construction. So it would probably be something that we would bid about this time next year, and then break ground in March.
And then there's always an option, because there's a lot of things that we have to do before we're able to apply. One, we have to qualify by a national objective. So what that means is if it benefited the entire town and your census data came out 51% or higher, low to moderate income, then we could use that. Stormwater is a little bit different because we zone in on a certain area, so we would have to actually do an income survey for that area. And I can actually work with Natalie to do that. We have to ask permission to conduct the survey. We have to conduct the survey, then we have to ask permission to use the results. You know how the state is. So that's one of our first things. Number 2 is financing. Eric touched on the financing. You can get $600,000 through this program. You can only apply for stormwater for each activity every 5 years. So you really want to try to go for the maximum amount of $600,000 if you can. And then we could couple it with the SRF flood loan control program, which used to run through DNR. But DNR didn't want to deal with it anymore. They sent it to SRF, and it's really easy to apply for and to obtain. You do have to have, before the application, because it's all about chasing the points, you do have to create a stormwater utility, and you also have to pass a rate ordinance. And we'll go over some scores of how we think we might score if you go in here in a second.
You
And-
wouldn't,
Sorry.
you wouldn't have to start charging any rate
Correct.
until after you know you've got funding in place. You would just have to set up the utility and say, we're going to charge a rate, because obviously, if the funding wasn't approved, you may not want to be charging that rate. So you can set up the ordinance and say in the ordinance that these rates would become effective on January 1, 2023.
That's what a lot of communities do. So, say for instance, you guys decided you wanted to go in for round one. Your final application's due on July the 1st. We would create the stormwater utility. Then we would set the ordinance. You would find out if you're awarded on August the 25th. We could set the rates due like October 1st. Then if we were not funded, because this is very competitive grant, there's about 30 applications that go in for water, wastewater, and we've seen anywhere from 5 to 12 go in for stormwater around, and they usually fund 5 to 7, so it's very competitive. If we were not funded, we could back out of that ordinance, and then we could go right back in for the next round, and we could do the same thing. So yeah, we don't want that rate to hit unless we get this grant. So that, and Scott Craig, your attorney, has actually dealt with that with a lot of communities I've worked with. So yeah, and he does have the creation ordinance as well as the rate ordinance as well. And then another step that has to be done before we can apply is what's called we complete an environmental review, and I do that for you. I believe Natalie introduced that invoice. So whatever area you decide on, I have to actually comment to about 12 federal and state agencies along with some Indian tribes, and we get comments back. And typically there's no objection, but it's a whole process that we have to go through. And one of those is the state historic preservation. This could take up to 90 days. So if this is something you guys want to go in for round one, we probably need to move really quickly on it. And we can move as fast as you want, or take our time, however you guys want to do it. But that's the agency that usually takes the full 90 days because it's a ping pong thing that comes back with letters and responses. So there's a lot of steps that go through. Natalie and we can work really well together. The utility guys, I'll be working with them as well, getting some letters of support and asking questions and gaining some information from them. And then I'll be speaking with residents, getting letters of support, talking with them on the phone. What I like to do is call someone that's having a major issue, like maybe their basement's flooding or their yard. They can't keep landscape, chips down because it's always flooding out, or their driveway's torn up all the time, freeze and thaw because of all this water. And then I will talk to them on the phone, and I actually write their letter as they're talking to me and then read it back. So lots of steps to go through. If you wanted to wait till round two, proposal would be due in the end of September, and final applications due at the end of November. They haven't announced when wards are going to be yet. I'm assuming February of 2023. So we'd probably be in construction on round two late fall or late summer, early fall. So, but I'm here to guide you through the whole process. I do the public hearing advertisements. I write the application. Once we do get funded, then I turn into the labor standards officer. I work directly with the engineers to bid out your project. And I'm here throughout the whole project to oversee, making sure everybody's getting paid correctly, all the contractors. And then at the end, I close out your project and give you a complete file. So when State Board of Accounts audits, they can call me directly and they have all the information there. Mm-hmm. So on the back of your handout that I gave you, kind of wanted to go over, Okra has not released the new scoring for the round, which is typical of them, but we're still waiting on some guidance. But this was from the last round. There's a total of 700 points, and you have to get at least 450 to be considered for award. National objective, that's where your income survey will come into play. You have to be at least 51% low to moderate income. I would think it's probably going to be a little bit higher, but we just put 51 out of 100 just for the minimum. Community distress factors, that's based on a lot of things out of your control. IU School of Business and other entities have set like median household income, unemployment rates, all these little things, and they're calculated. So out of 175 points, you guys are 95.30, which is amazing because most communities that go in are under 90. So you guys are already a step ahead there. Local match, you have to put in a minimum of 10%, but if we do go for this full project, you're going to have more than 10. Okay. Project design factors, those are the 3 narratives that I'll be working on. That takes me about 4.5, 5 months to work on. Project description, we just explain your project. Project need, we explain why we need the project. And that's where a lot of the letters of support, a community survey that I'll do will go in. Financial impact, pretty much we explain we don't have $800,000 to do this project. This is why we need your funding. I've been scoring anywhere from a 277 in my last project's last round, 292 out of 300. So I think we'll be okay there. Project sustainability, there's a total of 50 points there. This is based on 2 things, a financial gap, and that's based on how many users in your entire town that you're going to be charging a stormwater fee on. So how many utility customers do you have?
Wastewater customers, I calculated it's about 300.
Okay. About 300. Okay.
That's all in town.
That's all in town.
In town. Okay. And so it would be based on that, and the maximum is 25 points. And then project sustainability, that is if you, and you can see how chasing the points is very important. If you set a rate at $3 or under, you get 0 points. Okay. If you set a stormwater rate of $3 to $5, you get 10 points. And if you set a rate of 5.01 or more, then you will get the full 25 points. Okay. And that's totally, up to your discretion on what you want to do. But the more points we can have, the better. They do offer bonus points. Last round, I was getting all the 25 full bonus points, but I've heard they're changing that around for project sustainability. Like they're going to green initiatives. I mean, there's things that Eric and I can work to try to get those points. So, as of the lowest points we can get right now, we would be scoring anywhere from like a 491 up to a 500 out of 700. And that's a really good score. We know what they're looking for. We've done this a lot. So I do think we can be very competitive with the project. And they haven't seen you guys come in for quite a while, which is good too. They love to see communities going after the grants. And I think we'd have a really good shot at it.
One thing that we'll have to, or hurdle we'll have to overcome is there is some property that was former railroad right-of-way. So Scott, your attorney, and I will have to look into that and see if there's any land rights issues or how we can get that resolved, because site control and having the land either that you own or the right-of-way to build what we're going to build is something we have to have before the grant goes in. So
we either have to have a permanent easement in place, or an option of a permanent easement, or the land transferred. We can do one of those 3.
That one plot of land we're talking about, Scott and I have gone back and forth on that, and I tried to call him today to see if he had an update on it, but he is gone. But he said he had to register in a portal for that, and it was something kind of new on the way they were doing it, so he's kind of been working on that.
I think he'll be back Thursday because I have a meeting with him. So
yeah, I think that's what she said. I guess he ran the Disney World Marathon or something. I don't know. Good for him.
So it depends on how fast you guys want to move. If you want to try to make the round 1, or if you feel more comfortable maybe taking time and trying to go in round 2. They do have 2 rounds every year. So we've been noticing the past, I would say 2 years, round 1 is a really good round to go in because they have a lot of money. And then they've been kind of squandering some money out into pilot programs. And then so round 2 doesn't have that much. I think this round that just applied a month or so ago, with water, wastewater especially, they normally fund 12 to 15, and they're only going to fund 8 in the second round. So in stormwater too, the SRF flood control loan actually is now competitive as well. But I don't think we would have a problem with you guys putting that application in. I think we'd be okay. So I know that was a lot of information. Do you guys have any questions about the grant process or?
I was wondering about the points.
Yes.
I mean, do people put down 0 points for keeping it $3? Because, I mean, we don't want to pass this on too much to our...
Right. You know, some
Can we get
communities,
by doing that?
if you're going to do that, I would do 3.01.
Okay.
That puts you up until the 10.
Okay.
So that's an option. You could always also, too, think about maybe a phased increase. Where you do, 3.01 for the first year, and then go up to 4.01, and then, you could do a phased. It's however you guys want to do that. I know raising rates is not a fun thing to do.
Now, the rates concern me.
Yeah.
I think
The
there's
difference
a lot
between
of
3 and 5
fixed
is
income.
Yeah.
Get right.
$2.
Me being
I know,
one.
but
Right.
you'd be surprised.
And adding another $5 on
It makes a
this
big
bill,
difference. Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll hurt.
Well, we raised our water rates just,
Mm-hmm.
in increments in the last 5 years. So, for,
Now, I know Scott won't like me saying this to you, but I have had a community before that actually did a $5 stormwater rate increase to go in. They got the grant, and then they did a $5 decrease on their wastewater. That was Cloverdale over in Putnam County. So you can do that. I know Scott will tell you not to, but it's not that you can't. It's just you never hear
You
of
may
people
not-
decreasing.
Why would he tell us?
You may not be able to because it may be against the bond ordinance that's in
Oh, they
place.
have
for
Yeah,
bonds.
because we
wastewater.
have bonds on
Yeah, I don't-
wastewater still.
I don't think you can do that.
What about
I'm
water?
sure it wouldn't
We
work.
don't have any.
Yeah.
Our water cannot afford to decrease.
Yeah. So that's probably what
No.
Scott will say. You never hear of anybody decreasing rates. You only hear of raising.
Yeah.
Yeah, because everything's getting so expensive. Yeah.
And one thing, where I've worked with Scott on some of these is we could look at the numbers and kind of give you a range of what those rates might need to be to support the amount of debt we're looking at, and also look at how the ARP funds could bring that down. So I think
Right.
that's something we can do fairly quickly, so that you're better informed on how much rate you might need to do to actually make this work.
Yeah, the rate thing really gets under my
Yeah.
craw.
Yeah,
We have a lot of seniors, and as you well know, our community's not a rich community. So,
I understand.
um,
And Okra used to have this program where you didn't have to have a stormwater utility, and then they changed that, about 5-6 years ago, because they want to be able to say, if we're going to give you this money, how are you going to be able to sustain that and
Right.
keep it up? Because wastewater, typically that's where you would take your money out to do your stormwater improvements. We know those repairs are coming up,
Yeah.
higher and higher. So
yes.
yeah,
What's your comfort level if we stayed down at 10 points versus the 25?
I think we'd still be okay. 0 points, I'd be a little worried.
Yeah, no, I understand that.
I can work my way through that 10
Okay.
point, just getting a 10 point. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And then
I've
we
only-
could possibly make some of that up into bonus points, depending on what they set for the criteria.
Have you guys ever done a comprehensive planning study? We could probably do one real quick, like just develop something real quick. So it's about changing those,
I like
chasing the
her.
points. But we are hearing that there's going to be 3 things to get the 25 points. So one is green initiatives, which we can fix. Okay, we can get that point. We can get, you guys are under a regional planning organization, Thrive West Central, and you're part of that 6-county region. And so their SEDS document, their comprehensive economic development plan, it's in there about doing stormwater improvements. So we got those points. The only points we'd miss out on is we don't have a comprehensive plan for the town specifically. You've done a stormwater study, a full study, right? So we could take the first chapter of background information and everything about the town, and then I could lead you guys through a quick and simple process of priority list, and we could develop something to try to get those
I'm
points.
sure we can
there's
come
some
up with
opportunities to
stuff.
get some those.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
have all kinds of ideas.
yeah.
Well, because I'm with them, I
Whether it
mean,
be on that
raising
or not.
rates again it's
Yeah.
going to be pretty painful. It really is.
I think we just need to see where they fall,
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
I think
Right.
that, and I mean, that's basically why we're doing it, because that money is there for us to use right now, and that's the time to do it. So.
Right. And Okra will look very kindly on, I think you'll get some major points in the financial impact if you're going to use some ARP funds. Then you're also obtaining, you're going to be gaining hopefully another federal partner in SRF to the loan, because SRF, they will see all of this with the application, and then they'll give us a letter of commitment. We won't close on anything unless we get the grant or anything like that. So. So really, the upfront cost that you guys are looking at for doing this is the environmental is $5,000, and you can count that. Once you pay that, that is counted towards the local match of your project. Okay, you'll have 2 public hearing ads of $50 a piece, and any attorney fees for the easement or the railroad issue.
Let me ask a question, because I think this may help them decide how they want to proceed. But when would they need to make a decision to move forward? Because I think there's going to be some, I think they're going to want to see what range of user rates they could be looking at. When do you need to know we're going in? Is there a drop dead date to still make round 1?
If we were going to go in round 1, because I've already got 3 projects going in, they're not stormwater though, I would need to know by your next meeting. So that's a month. For round 2, you could, tell me in May. So it just depends on how quickly you want to move. And really, the thing that I'm concerned about with round 1 is getting that environmental review done. That's why we have to know by, within 30 days, I would say.
I mean, I could offer that I could talk with Scott, and we could put some rate rough in what we think some rates would be based on the full 250 versus half of it if you put your ARP money in, so you can see what that rate might need to be. That may help you make your decision whether you're able
We can do a special meeting.
we can do a special meeting
between now and then.
That'd be great.
And we have $160,000 in ARP money. We've committed some of that to some meter reading software, which we really need to do that. So, $10,000 of it's committed at this point in time. I was intending to pay an environmental review out of that money as well. So, there's money there to be spent. I don't know what else for us to do with that money. There's nothing else that's really jumping out, and this is something that we've talked about, and this was...
They've kind of limited what you can actually use it for, and this is certainly one of the uses.
This is one of them for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I can talk to Scott. I think we could have you all some information to review within a couple weeks.
Okay.
All right.
And with the income survey, normally there's a charge, but the reason I was saying there's probably not going to be anything there, because I'll develop the letter, get that to Okra for approval, for it to give us permission to conduct it. And then what I can do is I can print it out, come to you, we'll sit down, and then you can make phone calls on that list.
Right.
So that way there is no cost for you at all on this income survey. Yeah.
Are we all comfortable with a special meeting?
Yeah. I am.
Becky?
Are you, Becky?
Pardon?
You comfortable with having a special meeting
Absolutely.
before the next one?
Absolutely.
So we'll get a little more time to digest rates and
Because
things like that?
I'm not comfortable with $5 rates.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So we can
Yeah.
at least get a rate study and see what we need to do and decide what we want to do.
So,
Cody, you okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So for instance, if you wanted to do like the 301 to get the 10 points,
Yeah.
then like we said, we could just say those rates would be in effective October 1st, and then if we
Right.
don't get funded, then you guys can,
Right. We still
what do
back
you
out.
call that? Rescind. Is
Rescind.
that right? Rescind that ordinance.
Yeah.
And then if we do get funded, then, they can take it effect. Yeah.
So
So-
they would have to take effect in October, and we wouldn't start working until...
You can actually
can
defer
put it
them
out
until after.
January 1 of 23 if you want.
Because you're not going to be paying back any of the loan until after construction's over. So, but it's better if you start accruing some money. So I wouldn't wait till construction's over, but you could wait till construction starts, so next year.
So if we're looking, if you do decide to go in for round 1 and you're looking, starting construction, March of 2023, you could go in effect January 1st, February 1st.
Yeah.
That sounds better.
Yeah, you could certainly
Yeah.
wait
Maybe
till
we
next
could
year.
start some of our projects before, and they can see we're doing.
I was going to say they need
Yeah.
to see something's doing
Yeah.
Yeah.
before we just
Yeah.
start tacking
Yeah.
stuff on.
Yeah.
I mean,
That makes sense.
realistically, that gives them also a whole year to.
Because you know,
Prepare,
they're
hey.
also interested that they're.
gonna jump
they
up
all-
by-
I was gonna
Yeah.
say there's so many people here tonight to discuss
$3 or
this.
$5.
This is the most people I've ever seen at a town meeting. It is. But that's good that you guys are thinking about doing improvements on your own to stormwater even before applying. Because one of the things in the financial impact is they look at is I'll be working with the guys back there to develop a list of improvements on what you've done over the past 5 years. And then we get a diverse sampling of checks and invoices that were paid and things like that. And not only does money spent count, but man hours count too. So if they didn't spend anything and they spent 5 hours on doing a ditch or pulling a old culvert out because it was broke or, you know, pipe, that counts too. So anything you do from guys back there, from this point forward, if you're cleaning a ditch out because it's all blocked up, or you know, a broken pipe, you see somebody's whole front yard flooded, start taking pictures. Okay.
Yeah. We already did some of that. I already got some of that.
Okay. Please.
I was saying, you know where I live, right, Cliff? I already got it. Next rain, just come down there.
Jason and I did some storm looking the other day, so.
Great. But yeah, if anything major, and if you guys are going to do, put in a new culvert or any kind of repairs from this point forward, start taking pictures because we'll want to put all that in the application. What's in the narrative. Yeah.
No, we can wait for a special,
we'll just do- we'll call
but you
special
got more
meeting.
information.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that's what we'll do. We'll just wait for the special meeting.
And then I gave you a card. My phone number is on there. You can call me at any time. I work 24/7. If you do not feel like you're bothering me, if you want to call me on the weekend and ask a question, feel free to call, text me, email me. I'll get back with you in the same day. And yeah, I just look forward to working with you guys.
So I didn't see any difference between these two.
Now, what is
This
your
is the more recent
fee?
one. This is after Jason and I.
You don't pay anything unless you get the grant. So the only thing that you would pay me up front would be the environmental review.
Oh, that's projected.
So yeah, we get the grant, then
That's part of it.
yeah, that will be part of it. Yep, it'll be paid out of grant funds.
Okay.
And we are allotted. We can only charge a certain percentage anyway of the grant amount. So yeah,
That's got my notes on it.
yep.
Hold on.
That's why I didn't see no difference. I was like, there's no difference.
Oh, well, I do love what I do.
I can tell.
I went through them by number. Well, appreciate your time coming down
Thank you.
and
It was
explaining
so nice to
everything to
meet
us
you
for
guys.
sure.
Hey, thank you guys.
I'll
I was gonna say, you're gonna get with Scott and let
I'll
us
get
know.
with Scott and we'll be in touch.
Okay.
And
Yep.
as soon as we have some information to share, you can distribute it to the council, and then we can decide when we want to meet.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect.
Okay.
All right.
Now, will you need to come back for anything else?
No, Natalie can let me know which round you want to go for, and
I think it's the consensus would probably be round one. We need to get it done sooner rather than later.
so the only thing I would need to start the environmental review, I could go ahead and send you the 2 letters the town council president will have to sign.
Okay.
And that just gives authorization for HWC and myself to conduct the review.
Okay.
And that goes in with the paperwork, and then we'll start. And then signing the invoice.
Okay.
And,
Yep.
yeah, we can get started.
We actually already approved her contract and her environmental review.
Yeah.
But I won't start until you guys are ready.
Right.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
realistically, I mean, we're going to do it one way or another. So, I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
getting it started now, I mean, as far as the review, I don't see there's a problem with that. I mean,
No.
Now
'cause
the environmental
we're going to
review,
have
once
to have
it's
it done.
complete, it's good for 18 months. So if for some reason we say we're going in round 1, and then for some reason we get pitched to round 2, it's still going to be good for your round 2.
Yeah, so.
And it counts towards your local match as well.
All right.
All right. Perfect.
Been very informative.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you again for your time.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
My brain can keep all that in.
Bye, guys.
See ya.
Okay, that takes care of that. On to new business. Kevin, you want to go ahead? So I asked Kevin to speak a little bit about, John talked about getting a new deputy marshal, and we all talked about it. And then John asked him, well, when you bring us a candidate, then we can talk about it. So Kevin's kind of been just putting the feelers out and stuff, and he's got somebody in mind. Obviously, he's the guy we want to trust. He's our town marshal to pick his cohort. So I've asked him to talk about the guy a little bit, and then we'll discuss some of the things that we want to do with it.
Yeah, I do have a new candidate. Unfortunately, this time it won't be Chris. That's kind of been the delay. Was working with Chris to try to talk to Vigo County to see if he would be able to potentially go to the marshal school, which I found out in the last 6 weeks. They changed. It's now 8 weeks long. Vigo can't commit to that for him, so he's not going to be able to commit for us. And I talked to him at length and told him I had another prospect that I wanted to talk to, and he gave his blessing with me for that. So with that, I've been talking to Michael Miller, who lives just up the West Hill out in front of me. Natalie's familiar with Michael. Michael started in law enforcement in about 2001. He was a dispatcher and jailer over in Vermilion County. Then he became a reserve deputy. After that, he was actually one of the few physical tactics instructors when he was a reserve deputy in Vigo County. In 2009, he came to Parke County as a full-time merit deputy and graduated the IELEA in 2010. He stayed there until he left right at the end of 2015 and took a job as a fraud investigator for Terre Haute First Financial Bank. He was a reserve for Montezuma for a couple of years. I've been on calls with Michael while he was a deputy, helping him in the county, and then also he's helped me here in town before. He's somebody I trust, and he trusts me. I had to contact the academy to see if he would be able to, since he had been out just what appeared to be 6 years, but with his time as a reserve in Montezuma, I contacted the academy. There is an 80-hour refresher course that he'll have to take that will cost us $50 for him to take that. It's all online, so there's no travel or anything. I did get an email from the academy, from Director Horty's assistant or whoever she is, advising me that Michael was eligible to go to take that 80-hour refresher course. He would not have to go back to the academy. So at that point, I started looking to see what kind of equipment we have to get him started. Right now, we have most of the big ticket items. I've got a weapon to give him, and he's got some gear that he's willing to provide on his own. At some point, we'll need another taser. Like I told Natalie, this year we have to buy new vests. Our vests will be 5 years old, but I've already started kind of looking to see what kind of grants are out there for those. The only thing I know, last month or the month before, there was a salary ordinance, and that's kind of a concern for me because the proposed salary for the deputy marshal went back 8 years. It went backwards 8 years to what I started out as a deputy marshal. I really don't feel that's fair for a guy of Michael's caliber and his experience. I think he should be closer to what I was actually making when I left the deputy spot and took over the town marshal spot, which John and I talked, and that'd be about $18, about $7.20 a month. It was a little bit less than what I was making, but I think that with his experience and his background, that would only be fair to him. I'll answer any questions you guys got about him. He lives right at top of the West Hill, like the second house right before you turn into where I live. He's got a teenage daughter that goes to Riverton. His wife's a teaching assistant out at Rosedale Elementary. I don't really think they're going anywhere. Would they buy that house, Natalie, about what, 3 years ago maybe?
Yeah, maybe 3 years ago. They were in Lyford before that.
Yep, they were in Lyford. His wife's from Lyford. So he's real close. He's right here. He does have experience. He's still investigating credit card fraud, bank fraud, that kind of stuff. That's his full-time gig. That's what he does for Terre Haute First. So. Questions?
I'll vouch for Michael. I've known him for a long time. His daughter's the same age as Lila. So nice guy. I think that when you left the sheriff's department, I think there was definitely a void. I think he was a good deputy.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone was very highly respected up there. I think he just took a different position, just for a different opportunity. He is a really nice guy. He is really close. I think that he would be good. I mean, I think that he would be a good ad for Kevin. I hadn't actually thought about that until Kevin started talking about it. And
I'd originally thought about putting him on as a reserve, thinking Chris would take the position, but
right.
it just doesn't work out with Chris with Vigo County. He can't take 2 months off work not paid. They can't commit to letting him use all his vacation time and everything at one time because I don't know when I could get him into marshal school. There'll be 3 marshal schools this year, tentatively. But Vigo, and I get it. It's kind of bad for Chris, and he understood. But they can't commit saying, yeah, we'll give you 2 months off in the fall when, with everything's going on, they may be shorthanded. So when I did approach Chris, I want you guys to know that. I did talk to Chris and let him know who I was thinking about. And when I told him Michael, he's like, yeah, I would be okay with that. He's been on calls with Michael, and Michael's been on calls with him. So,
Will Chris stay on as reserve?
yes, Chris will stay on as a reserve. He's not going anywhere that I know of. We talked about that. It's just one of those things. Back when I took time off of my full-time job to go to the academy, I was kind of at a business that had the time to let me go, and financially I could afford to take the 2 months off to go and not get paid, other than what I was getting from here. So for me, keeping Chris and gaining Michael, it's kind of a win-win for me because, like I said, I trust Michael, and I know Michael trusts me. There would be a few things that we'd have to purchase. I tried to go through my closets the other day and see what we have. I've got a vest that we can make work for the time being that's still dated good until September. I know he's going to need a pair or two of blue pants and probably a long sleeve shirt and maybe some incidentals. I'm hoping right now, maybe $500. At some point, though, we only have 2 tasers, so at some point I'd like to get another taser, but I might try to seek out a grant for that from someone.
So more so for me would be the question of, is he worth what we want to do and the amount of money? And it's his experience. He's well worth it. I mean, he can go to McDonald's or Burger King and make almost that much money. You know, he's already got a full-time job. I get that. But, you know, we're asking this guy to particularly put his life on the line and do some other things. So
I think it's not a financial concern for the town. I mean, I think
I
the
don't
money's
think so
already
either.
there. I
Yeah.
think that
Yeah.
we've been paying that,
And,
for the last
I
several
mean,
years.
he's probably going to be in a lot of school events, so
Yeah,
you
he's
know,
around
that's
a lot.
A bonus there.
Yeah,
Yep.
he's around a lot, and I mean, he's a heck of a guy. I think he's great. I think it's a great choice, and I think that right now, I don't think that we probably really realized when we had a marshal and a deputy marshal, we didn't just have somebody covering so many hours. We had 2 people that were supposed to be covering
Right.
all those hours.
Right, since
And
August,
so-
our hours been cut in half.
Right, we've been cut in half with only Kevin as our marshal, and he does great. He's in and out all the time. Chris is he's kind of limited. He's here hit and miss.
He works mostly dark time. He works late at night most of the
He
time.
does, and like he was able to cover the parade and some things like that. But having somebody else that's right there that
Right.
can come out and cruise.
Michael
you know,
will primarily
so-
be an evening kind of guy
Yeah.
because he does do about 90% of his work right now, the last year and a half or so, from home. So I haven't really talked to him about in an emergency situation if he can cut out for that. That's something I'll cross those bridges with.
Yeah.
But he primarily works 8 to 5 right in his house. He told me, he said, I hope it works out because I'm actually looking for an opportunity to get out of the house more. 'Cause,
Right.
I mean,
Yeah, 'cause
he
that's
literally
it's a
literally
very
gets
tough
out of the
job.
bed, he clicks on his computer, he works for 8 hours, he shuts his computer off, and he's still at home. So
Yeah.
he was actually kind of excited, and so I told him I'd be here tonight. I did tell him to be on standby if you guys want to meet him. I can call him and have him down here in a jiff. That's completely
And then you can see what his response time is.
yeah. Well, I told him, I
That's a
said,
good
be on standby. I said, I don't know if they want to meet you that night or later on, but I'll call you if they want to meet you. So, but as far as the money thing, the starting pay, when I understand what you guys did last month or whatever, but you can't go, I shouldn't say you can't. I don't feel it's right to go back 8 years to what I started at 8 years ago and asked this guy to do the same job with his background. And the $18 gets him a little bit less than what I was making when I bumped up to Clyde's spot, when I bumped it to the Marshall spot.
And if you guys want to do that, all you have to do is like make an amendment to this ordinance, and we just amend it. You can read it as an amendment, and then Kevin, what did you tell me on the start date?
If I get him approved tonight, I'll get him sworn in so it'll make it easier.
Right.
February 1st.
Okay. And
I give him and I time to meet up and do some things, make some arrangements with the academy, get the class started, get him some IDs.
Yeah.
Just give us a couple weeks to do some stuff.
So you can make a motion to hire, and then he wouldn't get paid until the March 1st round
Correct.
of checks. So then you would have a second opportunity to bring this ordinance in front of that and make that amendment. So that's how the timing would work out.
And I kind of asked Kevin not to have him here tonight. I didn't really want to discuss this, and then we
Yeah, I didn't figure you wanted to
reject the
discuss
guy
it in front of him either,
so-
but
Yeah.
I just asked him, if we wanted to talk to him, he was going to be on standby, but I just told
I
him.
mean, I can have him run down after the meeting or
I-
something if you guys want
Yeah,
to.
and I do vouch for him in the sense that I've known him for a long time. His daughter's the same age as one of mine. They're
It
very,
would be
very
nice
nice
if
people.
It would be.
So, yeah. So,
You don't want to make a motion, because I'm going to do it if you don't.
Well, I would, Becky and I would like to meet him if he could come down, when we're done for just a few minutes or something.
Okay.
So, in case he's yelled at me or something.
Do what? I didn't hear you.
Casey's giving you a ticket or something?
Yeah. In case he yelled at me or something.
Well, if he yelled at you, you probably deserved it.
I know.
Well,
Well, I'm just saying.
would you like me to call him and have him come down?
Well, when we're about done,
Okay.
that'd be great.
Well, you might go ahead and call him so he'll know.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to call him and.
Yeah.
What are we
I just-
what are we doing?
Are you gonna make
We
a
need to
motion
decide
though,
before
or
we
do you
meet
wanna
him.
meet him before
Yeah.
you make a motion?
Yeah, because
I
if you're
think
going
they're
to.
saying they want to meet him before we make a motion.
I'll be honest with you, I have
I
no
mean,
other
I trust
prospects and nobody other
Natalie's
around here that I'm
judgment.
really interested in.
No.
I'm
I make a
relying on our
motion
town
that-
marshal.
I trust Natalie and his judgment, so I make a motion that we hire him.
And I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Because I have nobody else around that has any kind of experience or.
I wasn't, trying to scare him off.
No.
You know what? And, Kevin and I, we both have found ourselves in a similar situation in needing to hire some help,
Yeah.
to get someone help. It's not exactly something you can put out there because then you're opening yourself up to just
Floods.
Craziness.
great, yes,
Yeah.
and just a lot of things to wade through. And so when you have someone in mind that you know is a good fit, that you feel
Right.
confident about, it's always crucial to go.
Like I said,
So-
my first initial thought was he would be a reserve and then Chris would move up, but
Yeah.
that's kind of what's taken this so long. Chris and we've been talking about this since September, and it's taken him like 2 months almost to get a decent answer out of Vigo County. So
Is there a second?
Any second there?
I'll
Do we
second
have
it.
a second?
Okay. I just didn't know if I missed it.
You did not miss it.
Okay.
I didn't hear it yet, so I make it.
does that motion include getting him the salary that I asked for?
Yes, that's it. That includes you hiring him at $18 an hour.
All right, thank you.
I think that's it.
All right, it's been motioned and seconded to hire Michael Miller as a town deputy at $18 an hour. Any questions? All in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. In case you didn't hear me vote. All right, and then Kevin, if you can call him and just let him know, come down.
You're almost done.
Yeah.
What time you want him down here?
Well, we still got some more stuff to
You got
cover,
some
so
more
give him a
things
little
to
bit of
cover,
time.
Right.
So, yeah.
Casey's still in his jammies. If he's working at home, he might be in his pajamas all day.
No, I told him to be on standby. I told him the other day, I said I had to go to the meeting, but be on standby. I missed a call.
I would be.
All right. Resolution 2022-1, transfer of 2021 appropriations. Following transfers are necessary to the 2021 budget appropriations. See the attached transfers. I am not going through all those. There are auto transfers using our Keystone Fund software. Be it hereby ordained by passing of this resolution that all these transfers be approved.
You guys are welcome to look at the transfers,
Yeah.
but we do this every year. This is, we don't, if you're a little low in one part of your general fund, you don't necessarily have to do an additional appropriation because you have money in another part of your fund. So this just clears out any negative balances. So we do this every year.
Yeah. And while you're previewing that, I'll read this. There's a partnership with Parke County Purdue Extension Community Development Program. They invite us to participate in a focus group as a part of their Parke County housing study. It's going to be held here, January 18th, 2022, 4 to 5:30 p.m. The purpose is for housing that is surfaced as a key constraint to address and opportunity to foster. They need to fix that. An opportunity to foster economic and community development in Parke County, given the interrelationship between industry, workforce, and community level effects on housing and demand and supply. A holistic, participatory approach is important. In an effort to examine current and future status of housing in Parke County, Purdue University is conducting a county-wide housing study that includes conducting 3 focus groups in Rosedale, Rockville, and Marshall. We need your expertise and input. We are inviting a small group of 10 to 15 local experts who, like you, represent an important aspect of our housing within our county. We hope you'll be able to participate and share your ideas with Partnership Parke County and our Purdue partners. Natalie will be attending this. If anybody else wants to go, I'll pass that down.
This is the housing study that Cindy Todd spoke about when she was here for partnership. This is the beginning of the focus groups. Yeah, so she's gonna use the town hall for that next Tuesday. We already talked to Evan. I'm gonna block off the parking lot so people can park since that's food pantry night. So, yeah.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't say like fire alarm and home and hall or something like that.
A couple different things too. We need to make a motion.
No, the other thing
Scott.
you can do is just walk out and
And
double
then
check.
do you want to do downtown offices tonight? You can,
And if we don't have to,
No, that's fine.
you can leave them alone. You can wait, whatever you want to do. These are just first of the year things.
no.
John's got to be present to accept it.
He does. And so right now,
I think we'll just push that.
okay, that's fine. You can skip that for right now.
Yeah, I don't know if you go back and look at the text messages, you'll see we get that same thing. Yeah.
Today,
Sometimes you get it. You get it.
oh, that'll be fun.
Yeah. All right, so we'll do an amendment to that.
Oh, yeah, you can amend it. I just put that same over there.
Read it to us.
You can just read that one line. You don't have to read the whole thing. It's already been read once, so
I
you
gotta
can
wait.
just read that.
I gotta wait for him to finish that other one.
Okay, yeah.
But they'd have it 2
They're
hours.
signing it, so I'm guessing.
Yeah, I would say they probably.
I'll make a motion.
I just find
It's okay.
Oliver is so.
Is there a motion to adopt the ordinance?
The resolution.
The resolution, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'll make a motion to adopt the resolution.
Cody, were you second?
yeah.
There's been a motion and a second to adopt resolution 2022-1, transfer 2021 appropriations. Any questions? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Other than that, it should be good.
So it is time to decide on the attorney for the next year,
Oh,
whether we want to retain Scott or
oh,
seek.
definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
You make the motion?
Make a motion.
I will make a
Carol?
motion to retain Scott Craig for 2022.
Okay.
I'll second.
Becky. All right. It's been motioned and seconded to retain our current town attorney, Scott, for the upcoming year. Any questions? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. All right.
Good move. We like
Yes,
him.
I think so too.
We like him.
Yep, good move.
He's good. Scott's good.
You call who the other thing that we should be doing tonight, excuse me, on my table until next month is the election of offices, like who's the president, vice president, and so
Okay.
on. Because as you guys are going to probably re-elect John, I think he needs to be president to accept.
Yeah. We don't want him to slide by.
Yeah, I don't either. That's why I said he needs to be president to accept.
You guys are nice over at the firehouse. If you're not there, you get nominated or something.
Unfortunately, we have to accept our nominations.
Of course, we have a whole lot of that. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah. The other thing we got is we've got some repairs done on the dump truck. It was an inspect and repair lift pivot assembly on the dump truck bed. Cut out damaged material, replaced with new, and new gussets and bracing where needed. Total job cost was $1,580. Material and labor included in the quote.
This is a quote from Ryan Orman. Cliff, which dump truck is this?
The one that needs the bed fixed?
Yeah,
The red one.
this is the
The
red
red
dump
truck.
truck.
Cemetery truck.
It's the cemetery truck.
And right now the gray one's not doing real healthy.
Yeah, the gray one's got some issues as well.
Right now we don't really have a dump truck.
We have a dump trailer though. The correct me if I'm wrong, Cliff. I believe that Jace would like to put the red truck into service more.
Yeah.
He would like to use it more on a day-to-day basis than we use it now. That truck has very few miles on it.
21,000.
Honestly, it'd probably be good
Yeah.
for it to be used a little
Yes,
bit more.
it
not
has
sitting
very
so much.
few miles on it. It sits so much, but he has a lot of things he thinks he could use it for. But it does need some work. It's a little neglected, and it just probably does need used.
Well,
You know,
is that the
So.
same issue we had with it last summer?
I think it's part of that issue.
Did they replace the pulleys?
JT made some repairs to this truck, correct?
He put the PTO cable on it, and after he done that, he found out it wasn't going up because where it's welded to the frame, there's supposed to be a piece on both sides like this, like where the bed hangs on. Well, that piece has twisted down, so it's like only bringing up so much of the bed. It's not going all the way up like it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be up here and right up like this. Dump. It's doing this.
Oh.
So it's not working right at all. It's
Okay.
very dangerous.
Yeah.
So it's going to take care of that?
Yes, it's going to take care of that.
Oh, that sounds reasonable. I make a motion that we repair the red dump truck.
What's the total on that?
1580.
1580.
I'll second the motion.
Been motioned and seconded to repair the red dump truck for the cost of $1,580. Any questions on it? Do you need more time? Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Nice try, Cliff. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I'll put that in the notes. All in favor plus Cliff.
Jace will be happy about that.
Oh, he was voting for Jace probably.
Yeah.
All right, so the amendment to the salary resolution, ordinance number 2022-1. We're going to modify section 6. It's hereby ordained that the deputy town marshal shall be paid $720 monthly from the general fund, where it used to say $600. I'll make a motion that we adopt the resolution amendment.
I'll second it.
All right. It's been motioned and seconded to amend the salary resolution to reflect the change of $720 versus $600 for the deputy town marshal. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign.
So I am going to do a new one for you guys to try next month.
Yeah, I thought you were going to. Are we talking about that tonight?
What? Oh, no. No.
Okay.
Different discussion.
Mystery.
Different discussion.
All right. And now the last one I have, which is the agreement with the volunteer fire department.
I don't even know if we read that every year. Do we read that every year?
I'm
Not
not,
unless there's a change.
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not going to. I'm just
Okay.
going to tell them
Okay,
about it. I was just saying it was the last one I had.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's way too much.
Yeah.
So it's time to renew basically the contract with the volunteer fire department.
Oh.
all the same.
Yeah, it's basically the same. Nothing has changed, just the dates, obviously, from January 1st of this year to December 31st of this year. We are going to look into the insurance cost. Natalie's going to look into that for us because we want to make sure we're not overpaying on that.
Well,
There's some stuff that's just
I
she
haven't-
wants to check out.
It's not on the bills tonight because Lori Harrison and I've been going back and forth making adjustments on the insurance. Now that I've done this asset capitalization and we really know what we have, we've been able to take some things off of there that were stuck in the inland marine coverage and everything. And then she's sent the fire department stuff over. And then tonight she sent me an email at like 5:30 that said, wait, the amount was wrong. That she has a weird percentage that we're supposed to be paying and they're supposed to be paying, but I don't have any documentation to support that percentage. So there's just some distinct confusion. So I'm going to call Scott tomorrow. Scott Fetters, the treasurer for the fire department. I'm going to call Scott and see what he's already paid. And because there's some things that we split, and I don't know that we're splitting them correctly. So
I texted him and told him you'd be getting hold of him
yeah,
tomorrow.
I'm going to call him tomorrow, and I told Lori I will call her tomorrow. All that just came in after I was already
Yeah, I don't remember
done.
what it was.
Yeah.
And that
So-
insurance part is not inside of this agreement. So.
The insurance is in the agreement. What we pay for them, it's not the dollar amounts are not, but it says
Okay,
that
yeah.
we will pay all of the on the fire equipment and the volunteer firemen
Yeah.
themselves.
But the dollar.
But the
The
dollar
dollar
amount's not in there, which is
Yeah.
fine. I just want to make sure that the split is correct.
Yeah.
What insurance on the firemen are they talking about?
That's what I don't know.
Well, because the trustee's office pays
Right.
part of the workman's comp.
Right, so that's also on here, what the trustee's paying a little bit. She's got this, she said when she inherited the account from George, she has that the town pays 67% and you guys pay 33%. And I don't know where that formula has ever come from.
And I've been coming to these meetings and been on a department a long time, and I don't either.
I've never heard that until tonight when she emailed me that number. And then I always get this invoice that's made out to you guys, and I don't like that. I think it should say us on there too. And
You know,
so yeah.
someone that might be able to help you enlighten that with Scott, Stevie Rooks.
Oh yeah, and I can call Steve too. So, but I don't like the way it's all worded.
Right,
and
I
she
get that.
threw that in today, so we just have to sort out, make sure we're all paying the right
Absolutely
stuff.
understand.
So.
Yeah.
That's good.
Does anybody want to make a motion on retaining the fire department?
I'll make a motion.
Becky usually does.
Say you don't.
I'll second that motion.
All right. It's been motioned and seconded to renew the agreement with Rosedale Volunteer Fire Department for the upcoming year. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right. Motion carries. That concludes my new business.
Yes. I don't have any other new business.
I didn't say anybody else
That
have
was
any
all
new
mine.
business.
That's
That's where you spend the
most
money
of
at.
that stuff I passed to you. So
Sign both copies of those.
Nat, do you want to bring up them emails?
oh, I do have new business. I'm lying.
Sorry.
So everyone knows, like when you go online, it's town of such and such .gov email addresses. In order to apply for a lot of grants and things, we need to have .gov email addresses. And
Yep.
Kevin's done some looking, and what did you tell me? $400 a year.
Talked to Randy Cleaver, who does
Yes.
Rockville's, because Randy Neeland had me get hold of him.
And we've used
I think
Randy Cleaver.
initially, the first year, it might be as much as like $550, but after that, it's like $400 a year. But that would give you each individual person, Natalie Montgomery at rosedale.in.gov. That way, when you're emailing stuff, they know that it's a government entity because you have a government email address. I know I've ran into a few things that I couldn't get as
And
far
that
as
cost us money.
yeah, because you have to set up a almost like a web page. You have to have like a webmaster. Now, Randy Cleaver does Rockville's for them, and there's like initial costs.
.in.gov or just .gov?
No, it's Rosedale. I think
Yeah.
I think Randy's is Randy Nealon at rockville.in.gov.
I think
they
I
have
looked
to
at
pay
Randy
just to have
Asher's as
email
that too.
addresses on the
Well,
state
you're not getting
website?
just email addresses. You have to make sure that rosedale.in.gov, that domain, is available, which we searched it the other day and it was.
You're paying for them to secure that domain for you annually, so that
Correct.
nobody can go claim it outside of it.
Right.
So what they
But
do
then
is,
it's not in.gov still. That
but the
already
IN
exists.
is because there's a Rosedale in other states.
Right. There's
I
a
said it's going to be Rosedale-in or something
No.
like that.
It might be
Yeah,
-in.gov, but
Yeah.
there's something in there.
Yes.
Because we actually have a sister fire department in Baltimore that's Rosedale, Maryland Fire Department. It's really weird because our trucks are numbered the
I
same size.
thought you meant it was going to be like a subdomain of in.gov, the state's official
He's
website.
the tech geek.
No,
I just know Randy told me it was like, Cleaver said it was about $400 a year to maintain it.
yeah.
We wanted to bring it up tonight to kind of let everybody know.
And we can get some more concrete information,
Right.
some
They're-
more concrete numbers.
They're hosting companies of what they are.
Yes.
They host domains. It's like GoDaddy or anybody else.
Yeah,
and
I
they
have a
just
website. I know.
yeah. So that's basically what we're doing. We're just securing our domain.
But honestly, I'm surprised
I think
with
that's
like some of
right
these
there. She needs to
wastewater
sign
grants
right
and
here.
stuff that we get that they haven't required that before.
She signed on the wrong place. Let me get some white out.
You know me?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You signed as a
you
board
did.
of director on the fire
Oh,
department.
yeah, you signed on the wrong side. I'm gonna get the white out.
You on the fire department now? Well, get gear to fit you.
You got gear that'll fit me?
Heck yeah.
All right, I'll go.
We gotta get you to start training on how to drive the trucks.
So are we at just investigating it, or are we where we want to try and do it now? Where we at?
Well,
with
I
this?
mean, with everything that's went on tonight, why don't you what do you think, Natalie? You get some more.
Yeah,
have a-
let's get some more
Okay.
concrete info.
All right.
And
We'll
then
nail
go
Randy
from
Cleaver
there.
down with some better
Yeah.
info on the process and everything. He did say though that it was pretty easy once it was set up that each individual town board member could have their own with their name /IN Rosedale or whatever.
Okay.
Because like there's certain things that places that I would want to request information from
Right.
that I can't because I don't have a government email address.
My granddaughter can come in and use online.
Yep. We'll get some more. I can.
So I have to
That's fine. Yeah, because I'd like to know, are we secure, encrypted, and so on.
sometimes or make phone calls,
Because if Kevin starts sending
beg, borrow, and steal.
information, I want to make sure it's not where it's just floating around out
Right.
there.
Yeah. We can do that.
Did you hear what I asked her, Kevin?
What's that?
I told her I want to make sure it's secure, encrypted, and all that good stuff. It
Well,
should be with the emails. It should be if it's a government.
Yeah, Randy Cleaver, he's the one that does all the county computers up at the courthouse, and he's the one that I bought our computers through.
Okay.
He's done some work for us.
All right.
before.
Yeah, he's pretty. He knows.
As long as you guys trust him.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing, or he should.
I've met some. Not saying he is, but I've met
Knows more than I do.
All right. We voted on everything so far.
Yep, we're good. I don't have any more new business.
All right.
Down low.
Any other new
Because
business?
there's one thing that
I
we
signed
signed.
up top the last time. I was
Cliff, you got
looking for
anything?
right now, too.
No. All right. Department reports. Water department.
The water department had 103 penalties. Everyone didn't pay their bill because of Christmas, I guess. And I hung 3 tags. We didn't shut anyone off.
Okay.
I got payments on everyone. They did have an issue with some water that we shut off that never got turned back on. So that we discovered turned on. So we did file a police report on
Okay.
theft for that.
Yep, I've got the report. I'm just trying to track down somebody before
Right.
I've already talked to the prosecutor before I
Yeah.
give it to him.
I'm not tolerating that. So pay your bill. That's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, I'm going to try to get restitution before we go
Yes.
that
If
way.
we can just get paid, that's fine. But, and I think it's important to send a message that we're not going to be
Sure.
taken advantage of. So that's all I have on that. I think water's doing fine. Gary seems to be fine. Yeah. Rob, do you have anything on wastewater? Is that why you're here?
I was just getting ready to ask Rob.
Is that why you're
Rob
gracing
left.
us?
He got bored.
You're gracing us with your presence tonight.
Well, it's first of the year.
Yeah.
But,
Got to come to at least one a year, don't you?
Exactly.
Let us know you're still here.
But No, actually, the last couple weeks I've kind of monitored the generator. I know you have a new service provider. However, it's acted a little bit funny and flaky on the transfer back and forth.
Okay.
So I did speak with my contact at Sycamore Engineering, which also uses the same provider for some of their work. And just to clarify, and he said that we should go through the provider. Doug Floyd, I know him personally through years of the contract with him through the school corporation. But either I need to or someone within the town needs to contact him to
get him out here.
Look at it.
Okay. Yep.
So that
can
just
do that.
occurred probably the last time, probably 25 minutes before the board meeting tonight, because Tuesdays are the scheduled transfer and checking of the generator.
Okay.
And then also, I'd like to see about having the drive covered with some of the old millings from the road and kind of compact that out to the plan as well. I mean, there's some potholes and then out there by the trash dumpster, because that trash truck abuses that driveway quite a bit. So.
Yeah, we're not using them for much else either, right?
But that would
Still
be
got a
it
big
right
pile over
now.
there.
Yeah, I mean, we got rid of a little bit, but we still have some.
Yeah.
If we're gonna go into community crossings, we're gonna have another junk pile, so,
Yeah.
yeah. We can do that for you, Rob.
Yeah, we'll put that on
Thank you.
Jace's to-do list.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Cliff, that means you know.
And do you have any feelings
You're
on the
voting for him.
stormwater project?
Oh, yeah, I would like to see that survey that HWC or whoever conducted that survey. I'd like to review it.
When we did that along with the wastewater project.
I never saw. I can't say I never looked for it. Let me say
Okay.
that. So,
All right.
so if it's in part of that packet, then there might be something at the plant as
Okay.
well. But,
Right. I'll see what I can pull out for you.
but and then I mean I was looking at the map, and some of it I don't know why it goes back past out by the well and in that area on the map. So that would be a question I have, and then it comes back around over toward the subdivision. So, you know, I'm just curious, is that something that is necessary and from a mechanical standpoint, or is there something that I'm not aware of as far as expanding the community? Because why would it need to go on past the wells and out there in that area? I mean, it's just kind of stuff I would ask. And, you know, I've been doing the wastewater here since basically November of 2012. So, you know, looking at it, and we're not addressing any of the water stuff that's on the main on Cox Drive or what, I don't know the name of the street that brings you into town. But
That's Main Street.
Main Street. So,
Yeah.
but I mean, as far as it goes, I'm just a little bit curious about that, because I mean, from an entity working 32 years in our school district, I mean, sometimes it's easy to add a little bit to a project that's not absolutely necessary, and you know, you could divert that money to maybe carrying it on down to, you know, the Main Street intersection or something like that. I'm just asking. So.
Right. Okay.
And when you look at water and pooling as you drive into town, it's, you know, in front of John's house, there's always water.
There is
sitting
always
there.
water, yes.
Always when you enter into the community, and
Yeah.
so, but you have to fight your battles. I understand that. So.
Right. So, okay. I figured you'd have a way in.
A way into what?
I figured you'd have something to say about it. I mean,
Well.
I didn't think that you wouldn't. So, but I'll see what I can find and I'll give you a holler.
Well, thank you, Natalie.
You just couldn't come by and just say hi, could you?
He wasn't. No, he couldn't come by and just say hi.
Well, she asked.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean that's
You know,
So-
I've always been a advocate of taxpayer dollars, and we need to get the most value for every dollar that
Well, sure.
we get.
Yeah.
So, and as a steward of school corporation dollars, and for years and years and years, I mean that's always been my goal, to ensure we get more value than we get
Right.
fluff, you know. So
Sure. I'll find out.
Yeah, that's true.
and I can look in my stuff as well as far as that. If
Mhm.
there's part of that packet out there that would address the stormwater portion of it, because you know, and that was. I mean, the work was done in 2016, so now we're into 6 years later,
Right.
and you know,
Right.
you've done
This was like a $600,000 project then.
yeah. So
Yes.
so you look at that, and you look at the fact that since then you've done some asphalt work, and that also sheds water in different aspects
Correct.
as well. So there's some things that you can do and maybe manipulate that water in different aspects that will benefit the community in a better aspect, just because maybe we do need to, instead of going down the railway, you know, divert that and then tie in off of the main streets and
Right.
things like that.
Right.
Especially
for sure.
with the fact that you're doing some curbing and things like that in the community, and that's going to change the whole dynamic of water shedding as well.
That's true. Because we do plan to do some more community crossings. Try to get
Yeah.
a community crossings grant this year.
Exactly.
And I haven't. Typically, John McMullen and I sit down and spec those roads out. We haven't had a chance to do that yet. With
Sure.
the camp just coming back in. So.
So I'm not trying to be a burden. I'm just you know looking at the map and things, and
Well, sure.
there's some options there that may be able to be changed and better benefit the other parts of the community as well.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. I will say we did have, we're talking, and I'm talking to you about stormwater, but we did have a wastewater issue in the subdivision. We had a
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago,
Yeah.
right before Christmas,
Yeah.
clog up. Thanks to Carol's neighbor for calling and letting me know that something felt weird about water gushing out of the manhole. She was correct.
And it may be such a thing that we develop. I mean, I know you contacted Terre Haute City to do that work, and it may be such a thing that you establish a contract with them to come out 2 or 3 times a year.
They didn't come out.
They did not come out.
No, they had a lift station down. They could not provide a truck. And so, actually, Gary called me for something else that day, and he gave me the name of a guy named, I know Barrett is his last name. It's Barrett Excavating.
Okay.
And he works for the city of Brazil a lot. He does a lot of their sewer work and stormwater work too, I guess. But he has a vac truck with a jet on it. So I was able to get a hold of him, and Brazil had just had a line that they had busted a main that day, but he said he would come straight over after that. Jay said he came in. He said he jetted it all out. He said it all was flowing really, really well. Charged us $500. We're happy.
And it may be such a thing that you establish maybe a preventative maintenance plan, because IDEM is starting to look at those things as well on a sewer inspection plan. I mean, we had one on the 2016 renovations and things like that.
Right.
However, it's not annual, so it might be such a thing that, hey, if he has a camera, can go through it and record it.
Yeah,
and
he
or
did.
Something
He
like
did
that.
tell Jace that he had that capability, and that he thinks that area definitely could use a good look through after doing that work. So
Absolutely.
I may contact him and get some pricing on some of that.
Okay.
So I'll
Good
get with
deal.
you too. So
And I'll be glad to converse anytime or with my opinions.
All right, street department.
the street department they did some more alley work. You guys did some alley grading.
We did some valley grading, we did some milling hauling, we hauled some to somebody, my boy's house actually, he donated. We cut down a tree in an alley,
Done some tree trimming.
got the welder fixed.
Um,
Yeah. There was a fat flag in the cemetery that was hanging, we fixed that, he fixed that, I wasn't.
He's been tinkering over there.
And then we had the dump truck on there, so that's
Okay.
Yeah.
all
So
he had for me.
yep.
I'm good now.
All right, thanks.
Thanks, Cliff.
Park department.
Not long.
Nothing new, just the graffiti from last month that we talked about. Can
Yeah.
you base on? Getting
I don't know if they've been down
There's
there
some
and done that or
graffiti
not
over
yet. the graffiti.
Yeah,
Cliff, have
all over.
I don't think they've done that yet. So
Cliff, do you know anything about the graffiti on the signs at the park
Signs and stuff.
where the kids have been tagging?
I seen some down there at the water department on the back of the generator.
No, at the park.
MC
The park?
Square.
No,
Yeah.
I haven't been over there.
no.
Okay.
Oh, I don't think we've done that yet.
That's fine.
I
I
haven't
just didn't know
given
if
him
he
anything. It's
went down
cold
there.
right now, so yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't want him to do it now. I just
Right.
wondered if he talked about it. All right,
I haven't been over. I can go over and look tomorrow.
No, you're fine.
you're fine. I just wondered if he talked to you about it or anything. It's fine. Fire department.
They had 9 med runs, 1 fire. They did 2 mutual aid with Lyford and Parke County Sheriff. So that was a total of 12 runs. They had a breakfast, and we got another breakfast coming up Sunday.
Sunday. Breakfast Sunday.
Better get to it. I won't be
He gave us a rundown of 2021. Do you want that?
totals. No, I think we can just file it in there.
Yeah, I think we're fine. You can just give me that, and then I'll just
Thank
put
you
that
for
in
it
my
anyway, Kevin.
Yes,
You're welcome.
more information is always better, but we're just doing one. So.
Let's just kind of stay true to our average. We had 99 runs this year, and we averaged I think 74 medical runs.
Yes.
That's pretty much about our average. About 75% of our runs are medical runs. Yeah.
You had 74 medical, 6 car accidents, 3 fires, 6 mutual aid fire, and 2 mutual aid med. You had 3 gas pipeline leaks, 3 assisting other agencies, 1 lines down, and 1 fire alarm.
Cemetery.
I don't know.
It's very quiet. Nothing's happening.
At the
It's very
cemetery,
quiet.
when I'm standing out on my porch and I look out towards where
Yeah.
Brosco's grandpa's,
Yeah.
back where the pine thing, I think there might be part of a tree down.
Oh, okay.
Towards the back.
That pine
In
tree.
the cemetery,
You know where I'm talking about, Cliff?
back in the cemetery,
Yeah, back on the northeast
Whole
side.
part.
I think there is a wind down there. Right by, it's right by the tile. I just go over the hill.
I don't know.
It's
I just
pretty
wondered if
close.
it was on any stones.
I don't know if he's on those stones, but
Do you know where John Brosco?
yeah.
It's there.
Okay.
That's what. I didn't get out the binoculars, but
He's
that's what it
between
looks
the
like
two
from the
trees that was
distance.
there, right? The 2 green-looking trees or whatever they are.
Gavel.
I don't know if they're pine
Evergreen.
trees, but
Yeah.
they're tall.
Some kind of evergreen. I don't know whether they're
Yeah,
fir.
yeah. I'll go out there and look for them.
All right. Thanks, Cliff.
Yep.
Police department. You got anything from her yet?
I don't expect to. I'm actually gonna, I think next month, implement my own try to catch our own stuff. That's actually something I was talking to him about the other day. To catch our own.
Okay.
Last month, December, I spent probably almost half my time in the office trying to clean and whatnot. I got a bunch of records to get rid of. I did go buy a new vacuum because
You did buy a new vacuum.
I did buy a new vacuum because the one I had was pushing dirt around, but it wouldn't pick it up off the floor.
All
I
right.
gotta say, everybody's doing cleanup.
Oh, yeah.
Kevin's been doing cleanup. Natalie's been doing cleanup. Jace has been doing cleanup.
Yeah,
We're all about cleanup right
good.
now.
I'm about halfway done.
Clerk treasurer.
Okay. So I'll start in our annual financial report. It has to be in, I think, beginning of March. So I'll start that this month. Also get our W-2s and all that kind of stuff out here in the next few weeks. I am set to start moving back here. I'm pretty excited. Like I said, my wiring and all that's in. I have, I think, hired a deputy clerk for myself. When Amanda left several years ago, I did decide to do both jobs. I've done both jobs for a while. I'm ready for some help, ready for someone else to sign off. I do anticipate being audited in the next year or two, and they are going to say someone else needs to sign off on your money, and I get that. But I'm also ready to get some projects done. I am changed to the Stag-on desk. I cannot even go to the post office without someone. I mean, I can't even use the restroom, you guys, without it being like yesterday I walked to the post office. I came back. There's somebody pulled in to pay their bill, And she said, "Oh, I was just going to drive over to the post office." And I love her, and that's great. But it's just, there's a lot of projects I need to take on that need to get me out of my seat. I need to go to the courthouse in Rockville. I need to get the ticket money handled. Kevin and I have been talking about that for a long time. So hiring a deputy is exciting for me. I think she's going to be great. I'm hoping that she can start next week. I'll reveal that as soon as it's all in stone. But I set out to do some more work, and now I find myself doing work that's more busy work. There's other things I really want to focus on, so being able to give her the utility work would be great.
Okay.
So that's where I'm at.
Anything else?
Nope, I don't think so. I think we covered everything.
All
So
right. We'll go back around to public comments since we've lost half our public. No. No. Kevin.
I just had probably wouldn't happen until like next spring or so, but right when you're coming in the road into Rosedale there, the town limits at Lowell, it's getting pretty rough right there in front of
Tony's house.
Tony's house. I actually had to go over to the left side to go around it.
Yep.
Like I said, it probably wouldn't be a good time right now because it just freezes and pop back up or something. But something that would definitely be on the agenda for that we maybe town can get a hold of.
Yeah.
Some road
That is
patches.
an annual occurrence.
it is.
Yeah, I
It
guess.
is.
I mean,
It's a rough
I've
spot.
seen
But yes,
it
you're right.
several times.
Yeah.
Pulls there.
Yeah.
I mean, it just, and the water, the water that stands there, it just
Yeah,
keeps on
it
washing
does.
It's
whatever
a
else
tough-
away, so.
Yep. Okay.
I mean, you guys can hire me and pay me $1.50 a week. I'll go down there with a pickaxe and make a line.
Yeah, they
No,
just
that does need to be handled.
need
We've
to
done a
take
couple
the
different
excavator
things.
down there,
So,
scrape down.
oh, I do want to say one more thing. So, the property on Balder Street has been demoed. It is completely down.
I saw
There'll be
that.
some more grade work to be done. The law will look a lot nicer when the weather gets a little bit better. And Kevin Lytle has taken down the house on Depot Street. Huge improvement over there. He still needs one more dumpster. He actually came by today. He's still doing some cleanup. Both those properties are down. Just way better. Way better.
I have one more question. Did we hear anything back about the bridge out here?
That's part of, so the Next Level Trails grant that the Park Trails Alliance got,
Yeah.
that grant has a provision in it to get us a new bridge.
Oh, okay.
So that's a 5-year grant. They have 5 years to spend all that money and do all that work. So they got money around August, I believe. They're still in their preliminary planning. It's my understanding that they're going to start making they're going to put some things out for bid here in the next couple months and start some of the projects that are easy, that are really shovel ready, because they have parts of the trail that they can get in and work on that are pretty good to go.
Yeah.
But getting a 2-lane bridge, replacing that so then bike traffic and pedestrian traffic can cross that as
Right,
well is
right.
part of their grant.
Okay.
So we actually don't, that bridge is not ours. The county is over all bridges. So the town doesn't actually do anything with that except for sometimes paint the handrail.
Right.
But yes, it's rough, but it's actually, the county says it's
Right.
still
Well, I would've
structurally sound.
Right. I would have painted it last summer, but I was kind of afraid that I'd fall over. So.
Yeah. So yeah, we know, Jerry. We know. So
Cliff, you got anything?
Kevin, do you want to introduce
Yeah.
who you got here?
So this is Michael Miller. Michael lives, like I said, up on the West Hill in front of me. You know Natalie. That's John McGlynn. He's our vice president. Cody Mason. He's a new board member. And then you have Carol Brown and Becky Bailey, Birch's mom. This is Mike. He's ready to answer questions. Fire away.
Okay.
She wants to know if you ever stopped her and yelled at her when you were deputy. I said if you did, she deserved it. You only yelled at people when they deserved it, right?
That's right. That's right.
That's what I told her.
That's how that works.
Probably
I
yelled at her.
vouched for you, Mike. I said you were a good fella. I said I've known you for a while. So
She's just trying not to get a ticket.
Yeah. She's trying to get out a free ticket card or something. You know?
Who's all in there?
no.
Just don't shoot anybody's dog or anything.
Oh, no. It's not. That won't be
Not shooting.
that won't be an issue.
That's always
Unless
more.
they come
you know
running
there's
after,
more
unless they
dogs
come
in
running
town than
after
there
me.
are people.
Yeah,
I mean, I
Bump 'em.
have tased the dog before, but I was about to get eaten by it, so
yeah, that's fine.
it was it was actually in town.
You can
Can
probably
we
yell
do
at
these
somebody's
people over here
kid
with their
before
dogs?
you can yell.
Yes,
at their
I did go
dog.
talk to her the other day.
Okay.
Do you have any questions for us, Mike?
Yes.
Mike, what kind of times do you think you'll be out? Just kind of random.
Random times. I mean,
Okay.
I work 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, so it's going to be between 5:30 and 8 o'clock the next morning, and then weekends I'm free, so it'll be. I mean, I don't want to set a set schedule. Then they figure out when you're out. Then
Well,
they,
sure,
you know,
sure.
They,
Right.
then they
Just
know
call me
when to-
first.
Right. Well,
That's
We
kind of the way
all
we've
know-
all. That's kind of the way we've always worked. We
I
don't-
know, but we all know that crime doesn't only happen at night. So, I mean, people
No.
always say that, oh, there was no one out at night. Well, it doesn't just happen at night. We know that.
No,
So,
it happens at all times.
Right.
So most of the
So-
time, if it's during the week, it'll be in the evening time,
yeah.
and on weekends it may be during the day, depending on when Kevin's out or whatnot. So we'll work around each other to.
Okay.
We're not on top of each other per se, but
That's why when I'm out in the week, when I'm off during the week, I try to come out 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. People are like,
Yeah.
"Man, you're up early." Yeah, surprised, wasn't you?
Well, definitely welcome aboard. Glad to have
Yes. Welcome.
thank you.
For sure.
I appreciate it.
Did you ask him if he was available for emergencies during?
No, I haven't talked to you about that yet.
Well, you blew that pot.
If
I'm
Too
you're
late. now.
working and shit would hit the fan during the day,
It really depends on
what you're doing.
what it is. You know,
I mean, it'd have to be a big deal.
yeah, and I'm sure my boss would work around it. I mean, he was a dispatcher in Clinton for years, so he knows the deal. But ideally, if it hinders what I'm doing there, you know, it would.
Right.
It really just depends. I mean, it would have to be something really, you know,
Yeah.
Like something
hit
major
the
at the
fan
school
worthy.
or something
Yes,
like that.
yes.
Right.
It would have to be hit the fan worthy
Yeah.
to justify it. But yeah, I'm sure that it wouldn't be an issue.
Good.
all right.
Officially start.
I'm done. I don't have any more.
Any other questions? Anything else?
Can you sign those minutes?
Steve?
Yeah. Oh, I will say this, your fund report, I did not have bank statements from Bank of New York. Those are not reconciled for the month, but everything else is reconciled through the end of the year. They just did not come in. They don't usually get here until between the 10th and the 12th.
So do you need a motion to pay the bills?
I'll entertain a motion to pay the bills. Yes,
Pay
ma'am.
it?
I see what's good.
Becky makes a motion.
See what happens.
Cody, second. Been a motion and a second to pay the bills. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Post same sign. Motion carries. And now the favorite motion.
I will motion to adjourn.
All right.
I'll second.
Becky second. Been seconded and motion to adjourn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Post same sign. See you next month.